Welcome, and hello. This is Total Spotfest. I am JJ. That's Jamie. That's Austin. We are coming back at you. Post Dynamite, post WrestleDream, post a lot of things, pre-Halloween, all sorts of stuff going on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, Austin, how you boys doing? It's finally feeling like fall outside. Thank God.
Definitely. Like, Audrey played some softball this weekend. Saturday was 90. Sunday was like 63. It was the weirdest thing. It was great, but yeah.
I don't know if y'all had out your way. We had a freeze warning over night last night.
We did too.
Sure did.
I had to turn on my heat this morning.
Yeah, it is finally fall. We got the little tease of fall a few weeks back where it dipped for a weekend, and it seems like we're into chilly season now, which is a good time of the year for me.
Middle of October finally, but hey, getting there. I am so for it. All right, well we got a lot to get to, so we're not gonna pussyfoot around here. We're gonna get right into it tonight. Before we do, we just want to give a quick little heads up, a shout out here, because like we talked about last week, lots of stuff going on locally here in the greater Kansas City area for wrestling. We do have this Friday is the last scheduled Found City Pro show for the year. It is going to be, I'm trying to think, Wayward Son. I think it's just Wayward Son is what they're calling it.
Yeah, Wayward Sons, not like Carry On Wayward Sons.
It's
Wayward
Sons. Just the Wayward Son. Hey, Clint. So Wayward Son, FCW champion will be crowned. The man on the bottom of your screen there is going to be in a tag match against an yet to be unnamed opponent, along with Ray Leon. So it'd be interesting. Leon.
The illustrious Ray Leon, or Juan Leon, as he's called at the Lucha Show in Southwest Kansas.
Is he really Juan Leon? Oh, that's even better.
So the local paper covered the Lucha Show, and for some reason they had a picture of him in the ring, and they called him the illustrious Juan Leon. So now we only call him the illustrious Juan Leon.
Man, who is obviously not Hispanic.
So when we're doing the pre-show, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing the pre-show. We have to get him on, and I am going to call him Juan Leon the whole time. I'm going to pull the Jim Rome bit of Chrissy Everett the entire time. Yes, let's make this happen.
They'll let you know you just dated yourself there on that bit.
I don't care, because it's a great bit.
It is.
Chris Everett.
It is. Yeah, Jamie did let the cow beg there a little bit, but not a big surprise. We are back doing the pre-show. We had some communication issues last couple times. So anyway, and I know that Jamie had some scheduling things going on here, but we are back. We're doing the pre-show. It'll be simulcast both here on our channel. So if you aren't already, you can hit the notification, follow, subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you know when we go live. Also, it's going to be on Found City Pro's socials. So Found City Pro on YouTube, on Facebook, all the stuff, right? Lots of good stuff going on here with that. We are a little over 2 weeks out from the return of Journey Pro-ish. And I'm saying it that way because it's really St. Louis Anarchy, but in accompaniment with the name of Journey Pro, Tuesday the 29th at Cadillacs and shit.
Guitars and Cadillacs.
I have butchered that bar name.
You have messed that up
3 ways Sunday, and it's for 3 words. You think that JJ would do better than that? Well, you don't know JJ very well, apparently.
No, too many.
JB's like, yep, he's bad. What's up, Rob? But yes, so no front row seats, but tickets are still available. You don't need front row seats. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, at that place there. It is.
You can see from anywhere.
You can see it from anywhere.
To stand, honestly.
It is better to stand. Absolutely. We would float around. So we'd go from behind the towards where the merch table is to the other side by the stage to the other side, the side by the bar. Side by the bar is the best, probably. I think the best for you.
Yeah, I still one of my most fondest memories was the show right after they had Joey Styles, Joey Ryan, sorry. And it was before he got canceled. about a solid year before he got canceled. But we were standing over there, and then the best friends, so Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett, were wrestling somebody, and I just yelled out, "Touch his dick! Touch his dick!" And they just look at me like, "We're not touching anything." It was like one of the best things. Like,
I think one of them went. That was last month's gig, bit or something.
See, Jamie, you're the reason why people are embarrassed to bring their friends to pro wrestling.
Yeah, 100%. Or I'm just gonna make you laugh your ass off.
The kind of person that makes pro wrestling the best live entertainment there is in the world, because shit like that happens.
I absolutely, from the person who has been Jamie's longest, companion at wrestling, all of his daughters who have gone with us at some point in time have been embarrassed by their father, as they should be naturally. Right? You go with your dad to an event, dad should embarrass you. That's the way dads work. Right? But he'll say stuff and just turn red and they look at me and I go, I'm used to this shit. It's fine. It's a man who's been calling out Lion Tamer for how long have you been going to shows, Jamie? A decade now? Something like that?
Roughly. Yeah, you'll hear Lion Tamer. I haven't said it I've only said it twice at Fountain City. I've been really good about it because it's mainly for one person.
It is definitely a targeted attack. Let's put it that way. Clint says now he knows why he doesn't go. We don't have to sit next to Jamie.
Friday.
There's plenty of spots. Friday's worth it. Friday's going to be a beautiful night out there. Come join us, Ball Event Center. Tickets available. FountainCityPro.com.
It's not that far from McLouth, man.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
Not calling out where you live, but
you kind of do. And then, of course, in December, we have the return of Central States Wrestling. We have Dynamite's going to be at the T-Mobile Center on the 11th, not Cable Dahmer. Interested to see how it... I was going to play just fine. We've seen stuff at T-Mobile, but interested to see Dynamite at T-Mobile because Dynamite was just so cozy and fit so well at Cable Dahmer. But... probably some hockey scheduling. Who knows, right? They're going to be at T-Mobile. And then November, Jamie and I are scheduled to go to GCW in St. Louis. We'll give you guys more updates on that as it gets closer. But lots of good wrestling going on locally, guys.
I wonder if they're running a slightly bigger arena in Kansas City, if they're going to do like one of their special Dynamites. Mostly just wishful thinking because we're probably all going to end up going and catching the show, but it'd be nice if like a Winter is Coming or something like that.
I can see him doing Winter is Coming. I mean, the pay-per-view is on the best day of the year, November 23rd. So this is about 2 weeks after the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
So
2.5.
It might be.
I mean, it's not really a go home or post, so it's like in that middle range there. It very well could be Winter is Coming. Who knows?
All I care is that T-Mobile Center gets back to me. I've sent 2 emails now, and it's just quite frustrating that no one's even contacted. Like, I want to price out a suite. And
I'm trying to give you money.
Because like the entire family wants to go. Like the entire Faulkner clan is gonna go.
Right. And I know that, we got a little local group of, group chat going on too. We've got several people in there. Well, maybe we'll figure that all out. We'll be there regardless, but we're gonna figure that out.
Then we'll do the show live from the parking lot.
We've talked about that before, and I would be totally in.
We were legit going to do that after one of the times at Cable Dahmer. We were going to do it from our car, and if the internet was better out there, we probably would have. So, all right, guys. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff. Like I said, this Friday, though, is the next opportunity to see live local wrestling here in Kansas City. As I said, Jamie and I are going to be doing the pre-show. Austin's going to be wrestling on the damn thing, so you have no reason not to
Might even do a dive. We'll see.
Oh, he said he might.
I did steal a Lucha's mask at Triple L last week. If you saw on the Twitters, so I'm just a Lucha guy now.
Yep.
It's going to dive.
How was the rest of the show at Triple L? Because I mean, it was one of the best gimmicks for a show I think that I've heard of in a while.
the mystery show where they did not announce a single match. They showed some of the talent that was going to be on it, but they didn't show all the talent that was going to be on it because we got Royce Isaacs versus unannounced guest John Morrison, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Johnny TV. Oh man,
Johnny Denver.
Johnny Impact, Johnny Dynamite,
He came out as Johnny Denver and then got a "fuck John Denver" chant going in the Oriental Theater. It was a great time. As I always say, make it to a Triple L. It's the funnest time you'll have in pro wrestling.
That is
yeah. You also had Abaddon there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's became
Abaddon versus Effie.
Effie just Bussy broke up over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it at Art of War Games, you know. Allie turned on Effie. Shocking.
Nothing beats a good Bussy though.
Maybe Thrussie.
Thrunt? You mean?
Thrunt was the best.
Thrunt was the best.
Thrunt was the best. All right, we are getting way off track, so we're going to bring it back in.
Right.
Let's talk about the pay-per-view that was WrestleDream. So lots of stuff going on in WrestleDream. We're going to dive into it. We're going to get this out of the way, though, because we did have the belt on the line, as we always do. Spoiler alert, we're kind of giving away what happened here just with your visual you're seeing. So, Jamie did pull this one out. There were a couple picks that were ill-conceived.
Only thing I pull out, gentlemen. That's why I got 4 kids.
So
the jokes will keep on coming today because I'm really tired.
When
I get tired, I get loopy.
I know. I did love the fact that Megan was like way off on the pre-show matches. That did pop me a little bit. I kind of wanted to come down to her and somebody else and have the pre-show cost her again just for the bit, but whatever. Yeah. We were pretty solid on a lot of stuff as we go throughout this year. Where we differed was the women's title match. Faulkners both picked Mariah May. Austin and myself picked Willow. I bought into the Kool-Aid of, drinking the Kool-Aid that Jamie, and I figured this out. This is what Jamie does. Is he plants the seed. I don't know why it took me a decade plus to figure this out. I think I'm knowing 12 years now, something stupid like that. And he plants the seed and he waters that plant, knowing damn well he's going to run away from that plant the minute you go in to take a bite of that. So, yes.
I always it always costs me because there's 1 or 2 matches where I pick with my heart instead of my head, and I'm just like, please do this, and they let me down.
Yep. Well, because of that, I did not pick Takeshita on the triple threat because I was like, "There's no way they're changing this many belts, right?" And I was like, "Well, if Willow's gonna get a belt, so it was kind of a ripple effect for me." You were the only one who did pick Takeshita, Austin. Everybody else was on the Will Ospreay train. I mean, good call on that for sure.
That one, it seemed like the best time to take that title off of Ospreay.
It really did.
It did.
It really did.
And we'll talk about that with Dynamite because I got thoughts and I'm very excited about that decision.
Only the match we really differed on. I mean, there was a couple little here and there. I think that you missed one on the pre-show. I missed. Well, I'll save that. But we did split on the title match. So Jamie and Austin both picked Danielson to retain. Myself and Megan chose Moxley to win. And you guys didn't seem to believe me when I've been saying for weeks that this is the time, this is the place. He is going to drop it in his home state.
So I did not see the forest for the trees on this one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And I've never been so glad to be wrong before because to me, Danielson just hyping it up, winning again, and going on that run through the end of the year of top guy Danielson just seemed like the best possible option. But I did not know the other option on the table, which is what we got. I am 100% into this shit.
Right. You didn't realize there was another line on that buffet where all the good stuff was. Right?
It seemed like the build between Mox and Danielson was a little too quick to be leading to this. And in hindsight, it works. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But it did not seem like the earlier stages of something much, much bigger at the time on the build.
Our bonus question was, I put it out there for Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac going to be shown at all on the broadcast, and even being shown in the crowd counted. I made sure to put that note in there.
Yeah.
Mecca's the only one who bought on that worm for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't either.
But no bonus point. There's some bonus points going around there. And then what cost me, because it was coming down to me and Jamie is what it was looking there. And what cost me was my ignorance of not realizing that Hologram was on an undefeated run right now. So I thought Beast Mordos, so they just did the whole thing with Jake the Snake Roberts. I want to pump that up. So Beast Mordos is going to win the 2 out of 3 falls match. And then as soon as the pay-per-view starts to start talking about the undefeated streak, I go, son of a bitch.
Dub City. This makes me, gentlemen, not a 1-time, not a 2-time, 3-time defending champion of the pay-per-view title. 3 consecutive. I'm going for my record of 5. The record is 5. I'm going for it.
Well, you're gonna have to beat me
on
on
my Hogan run.
You're gonna
3
have to
more
beat.
chances.
You're gonna have to
this
beat
year.
me on my birthday next month. And that's supposed to, for a normal person, that would entail a emotional response. Jamie's like, "I'll crush you on your birthday. I don't care."
Hey, if you want somebody to beat you on your birthday, you usually got paid double for that kind of action.
I know. I might have to. We'll see. So pay-per-view guys, highlights, lowlights. What'd you think?
It's solid.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was not their best of the year.
No.
I thought it was very good. I understand because there's a lot of polarization post main event. That's the point, right? I get that. Talking to a friend where he was liking everything. He just didn't care for the bit, didn't care for the ultra violence, and all that. Not that it was out of place or whatever, but just I don't know, just didn't ring a bell with him, and I can understand that, I liked it.
Yeah, I don't think it was their best pay-per-view just as a top to bottom one show wrestling product thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be their most important pay-per-view when we're looking back 6 months from now on 2024. Cuz they did a lot more story, like setting up stuff for the future than they have ever historically done in the past. Like ending a pay-per-view on a note like that is some straight up WWE or WCW shit that we haven't really seen from AEW. And I think as long as the story that follows is good, it works. And so far, I think this is going to end up working.
Yeah, because, we all know AEW's been coming under a lot of flack lately about their storytelling and all this stuff. And we've all, if you are a follower of this show, and hopefully you are, if not, like and subscribe. But we all believe it's been going in the right direction for quite some time now, and just people have just been kind of burned on it, like specifically from the women's division and some of the other things, right? Well, I felt like the storytelling specifically from WrestleDream almost eradicated that feeling for most people. And if you're new to the product, that was a great introductory, like, ooh, what's going to happen next? And then this Dynamite kind of felt like just followed up beautifully. Like, with what they did with Moxley and then Wheeler Yuta, which was excellent. But the fact that you got Kyle Fletcher turning and then you got the look at each other, the feeling of deceit and seeing it, like the emotion that those guys did, man, like that shit was amazing. And then you had some mediocre matches there also mixed in there, but whatever. But you had really good stuff.
Unsurprisingly to anybody, my favorite match, of course, was the Will Ospreay triple threat. Everything about it was just fantastic by all 3 men, plus all the surrounding combatants around with it. Don Callis heat is back, and I'm for it. I'm so happy that they're going this angle with Kyle. Plus, yes, put a belt on Takeshita. It's time. Ospreay doesn't need that belt. You're going to move him into the main eventually here, right? So You've had returning MJF and Adam Cole. Hopefully for good. Hopefully for good. We'll talk more about that in Dynamite. And even what they did with Willow. Willow didn't win, but she walked away from that match the bigger star. Not to disparage Mariah May in any light, but I mean,
I will politely disagree with that.
I'm on board with the champ on this one.
I felt like Willow looked great, but it really made Mariah May stand out. And like her talk of there's no one on my level, that whole thing. But like there's no one here that can touch me and all this and this and this and this and this and this. And she backed it up without any help, Like she beat Willow like clean.
She beat her clean. Yeah.
As a whistle. Yeah. Like, that shit's awesome, especially because Willow and Stat have had some monster fights before, and I'm excited for the idea of Stat and Camille. I thought that was going to happen on WrestleDream, but I guess we got to wait. But, no, I felt like Mariah, by far and away, was the one, and then Willow, of course, still looked amazing, and she's going to be a top babyface in 2025. I still, like I said before, I felt like she was a little early, but then I started drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid, and then I sobered up.
Well, I guess where I'm coming from with that, I'm thinking more of, I'm on the same line as like the old Dark Order Hangman Page angle, right? Maybe not with the post, dropping of the ball, but I feel like that's just from that shot of her distraught on the apron on the outside, right? That's one of those you go back and look at it moments which motivated her to, I think that by middle of next year, superstardom, right? She's gonna ascend all the way up. I don't think you do it right away. I didn't like the thought of her not getting the belt, because I agreed with what we were talking about in the past few weeks, gentlemen, about moving the belt off of Mariah. Not a transitional champion, but she doesn't need it for her storyline with Tony and Mina, thank you. I want to say Yuka Sakazaki. I knew that was not the right woman. But I think that the future is boding well. I think that the broad strokes they're painting for Willow are, to me, the more impactful thing. That's all I'm taking from it. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I picked Willow to win. I thought it was the time to pull the trigger on Willow, and Willow is one of the biggest baby faces in the company. But I'm with Jamie. After that match, I was like, damn, Mariah May can go, and Mariah May is a top guy. Like, coming out of the Tony Storm program, it like we were talking about, not necessarily transitional champ, but this is her first little taste of the title. She'll be back later, but you use the Tony Storm story to build a nice, credible deal for your women's division. But I think she completely stepped out of Tony Storm's shadow. Like, the match was great. The character work, we'll get to Dynamite too, or promo tonight as well. Like, Mariah May, like, I knew she was good, but she surprised me that she could be like the top star of the division.
And can we all agree that there's only one person that's gonna be taking that belt off of her?
No.
Well, it depends on who that person is you're saying.
Mina Shirakawa.
No, Mina's not winning that title.
Mina's not.
Oh, dude, give it to Mina. I want more Mina. More Mina in my life.
I want more Mina in general, yes, but
Anna Jay would win that title before they give it to me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't you dare say that.
I'm just telling you the realities of the world we live in.
Anna Jay had a victory on the pre-show. Give it up for Anna Jay. And she looked
honestly, she looked pretty good in it. Like
the little tour in Japan works. I mean, it worked for her boyfriend. It's working for her.
I'll tell you what, Jamie. Mina will get the title when Thekla shows up. Then you'll both be happy.
Yeah, that's for him.
No, actually,
that's for me.
Speaking of Anna Jay, I did want to point out, I was impressed with Harley Cameron.
Me too.
She has improved drastically in the ring, and she is legitimately entertaining.
I don't think Harley needs. Now, the problem is where you put her storyline wise, but I don't think she needs to be on Soraya's coattails anymore.
Oh, no, she does.
I mean, I don't know where she put her storyline wise, so that's why I think you keep her there. But
the separation of those two is going to be great because of Harley's storytelling ability. Like she has got that charisma, baby, that riz.
Well, she was
is what
like
the
a
kids say.
influencer and stuff, wasn't she? Like a TikToker before she came in, or something of that nature.
Singer.
She's a singer of something. Yeah, something entertainment wise. Who knew? I don't know.
She did a
Kidsy.
music video with Scarlett Bardot and what's her name? The green hair girl. Shotzi.
Shotzi.
Oh, okay.
Shotzi Blackheart. I will
Yes.
use her full name. God damn it.
So Shotzi.
All right, and then of course some other matches, like you said, you know. But we'll get to more of that as we get to Dynamite. So WrestleDream was good. Next pay-per-view is in the greater New York area. I think it's either in Jersey or Long Island. I think it's in Jersey.
Sure.
Whatever. It is November 23rd. It is Full Gear. It is one of their seminal pay-per-views. So if there ever was a time for Jamie's prediction about Shane McMahon to come true, this is the one. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think.
no.
I'm out on it.
I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened at WrestleDream.
Yes, I agree. If Shane
And it
McMahon was going
absolutely
to
does
show
not
up,
need it now.
It's like putting wrestling and Rick Rude in the original NWO. You didn't need it. Or no, the original DX. I'm sorry.
which the original DX formed 25 years ago, gentlemen.
Oh God.
This like on Monday.
Wow.
We were all alive.
We all were.
Yeah,
Two
I
of us were
watched it.
watching that intently as like their core demographic too.
100%.
I'm not too far behind y'all. I was right there at the TV.
You're not too far.
That was around the time we got cable. I finally watched Raw.
Oh, what
So
a
great.
time, man.
It was great.
Man. All right. Well, congratulations, Jamie. 3-time champ. Gonna see if he can extend it or if I can work a birthday miracle. Who knows, right? We'll see on the 23rd of November. All
I
right.
only do the finger poke of doom for my own blood. And I did that one. Remember the one I did it? And she
Oh,
did
I
it.
remember
That was the best.
I remember that because I was All Out, the one we went to. We went to All Out, and you did the finger poke of doom on the picks at the pay-per-view that you and I had traveled 8 hours and shared a hotel room to see. You did the finger poke of doom. We get back to the hotel room after waiting like 87 hours in White Castle's drive-through line. I was getting my White Castle, goddammit. I didn't care. We get back there, and I'm checking the thing, and I go, wait a second. And Jamie just starts giggling like a little schoolgirl over on his bed.
Yeah, like I was picking everybody I knew was gonna lose. Just to set up Megan.
I think your tiebreaker time was 69-69 or something stupid like that.
Yeah,
Like-
nice.
What was how long was the championship match? I never looked.
26-50 something, I think.
Dude, I'm all over that time.
You would have
lately.
got it. Yeah. If it came down between you and Austin, you would have still got it. And I think I would have beat you because I was a little bit closer, but yeah. All right. Well, it is what it is. Let's move on. All right. So congratulations, Jamie. We'll see you again in a month.
Let's move on. I don't want to talk about me losing again.
I don't. I want to move the fuck on.
Put my bet.
I'm like a KU fan this time of year. It's like, let's talk about football. Hey, babe, basketball starting. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
When did
we
basketball
can't
start?
win a game. Hey, you know what? We couldn't win or lose last week because we were on a bye.
It's the best week in KU football since the offseason. So, it starts up like this week. They're doing all the schools are doing their like late night bullshit, whatever thing. The only thing I'm excited for college basketball season is that Mizzou's going full retro on the outfits.
I always like when they kick off the season. There's like a
That's
full
it.
ass day of basketball. Like I usually watch the first day of college basketball and the tournament, and literally nothing in between.
It's like early November, I think, is when basketball. Jamie, your school's the basketball school, right? Is it?
Yeah. Preseason starts early November, and then like right before Thanksgiving or right around there is when the regular season actually kicks off.
Because NBA starts the next week or two.
Yep.
Yep.
And I donned the jersey because hockey season's going on. This is the best time of year because we got baseball playoffs, we got basketball, football, hockey, a little bit of
Let's
everything.
not talk baseball.
Hey,
Let's not talk.
hey, you made the playoffs, man. It's okay. We made the
Yeah.
playoffs
Yeah,
this
but we
year.
lost to the evil empire, man. That's like
We're not going to be the
That's
only
why they're
ones,
the evil empire, man.
dude.
Like
I
everyone ends up losing to them.
don't think anybody's beating the Yankees.
no,
The Dodgers have
not
a
even
shot,
the Dodgers.
but
Not
no,
even the Dodgers.
Yankees are good, damn good.
I hate it. I hate it. I
Yep.
hate it. I hate it.
As
But you know what I don't hate, gentlemen? This time of
What's
year.
that?
This time of year. It's spooky season, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, we have a long-standing tradition where every week we talk something a little spooky. But I thought I would just throw us just a tad bit of curveball today. And we are not going to go over spooky stuff per se. So, as we know, as of Sunday, Bryan Danielson is no longer a full-time wrestler. Okay? Not retired. Oh, not retired.
not retired.
Full-time wrestling. Okay? So, I thought it would be fun if we would talk about maybe one of our favorite Bryan Danielson match, or maybe like something that he did, like maybe one of his eras of personalities, whatever. But like, let's reminisce on Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. How about that? How
Okay.
about that for a little change?
That's a curveball. That's a good. Nothing movie related at all. I don't even have to do
Not
myself
one bit. You're welcome.
Do you want me to start or do you want to go, Austin?
You go and start.
All right. So, Bryan Danielson, or as he was known on the other side of this wrestling fence, Daniel Bryan. Okay. Daniel Bryan had a couple very specific peak, amounts of time in WWE, right? The S movement was not a continuous line, right? Peaks and valleys, okay? So I think that one of the valleys that gets overlooked is some of his best character work he's done was the 2-3 however many months I can never remember because I feel like it's like, oh, it's been a few weeks, oh, it's been 6 months, oh shit, right? But the period of time in which he was embroiled and then indoctrinated into before turning on the Wyatt family was one of my favorite of his because it showed something more than just the underdog going for his comeuppance against the company, right? Because that's basically his role in WWE. The little guy, the indie darling, going up against the evil empire, right? He was the Royals going up against the Yankees, and more often than not, he got what the Royals got this year. But eventually, he'll get his comeuppance, and he did, right? Everybody remembers him for that. But the in-between stuff there, him and Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, were magnificent together. And the pay-per-view, and I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but it was a steel cage match where he turned on Bray and the family. It was just unbelievable. And we all know what a creative genius Bray Wyatt was, right? And you'll hear more stories about that as years go by far. You already have. But him, along with this kind of like intermediary, what are you going to do with Bryan Danielson? And you put him, it doesn't make sense on paper, right? Why would he be in the Wyatt family? But I liked that, and I thought that's where it took me from just like, oh yeah, this is the guy you're supposed to cheer for, to he's got range. I like him. So something that was maybe overlooked a little bit, but I really like the Bray Wyatt angle.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. If you ask me my favorite Bryan Danielson moment, I would just say yes. Like pretty much everything the man ever did. But I do think, kind of to touch on your point a bit, I think the fact that he is one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time takes away from how versatile he was, and he could make anything work. He wasn't afraid to embrace the silly side of pro wrestling, which I personally enjoy, but also could go out there and go an hour with the greatest wrestlers in the world and probably look better than just about all of them. if I had to pick a favorite era of Bryan Danielson, it's hard to bypass the early 2000s Ring of Honor bald head heel Bryan Danielson run. To this day,
one of these three had to say that. I knew someone was going to cover that.
to this day, most indie shows you go to, there will be some heel that will hold the rope, break it 4, turn to the ref, and go, "I have till 5." And he was doing that shit 20 years ago. Like, it's ridiculous. That being said, I really enjoyed his Planet's Champion run.
Ooh,
Like that was top tier heel work.
Oh, you're going.
And that was post Yes Movement. That was post. We just saw him be the like greatest babyface you could ever book in a Mania main event, and later on, still getting booed as a heel because he embraced the silly side of pro wrestling and actually had a gimmick instead of just "I'm Bryan Danielson, the best wrestler in the world," which is plenty of a gimmick as it is. So I think it'd be cheating to just say the Ring of Honor run because that's
that's low hanging fruit, but yeah.
So I would throw out Planet's Champion as my next favorite run. My favorite Bryan Danielson related moment of all time, though, was on the original game show style NXT, where the Miz was his pro.
Yeah.
And they've got all the other mentors up on the stage in their chairs, and Miz is cutting a promo on him. He's like, "You think you're better than me?" And it cuts to CM Punk and William Regal sitting up their chairs going, "Way better than you." That's my favorite Bryan Danielson moment of all time.
Fickle,
and the fully biodegradable championship that's made out of cardboard. Come on, man!
I'm not gonna lie. That card, I like the bamboo and hemp championship. I
yeah.
That
is the best.
And the fact that every time he came out wearing it, it covered his trunk, so it looks like he was just butt ass naked.
Yeah, that was back in the ginormous WWE belt era.
Oh.
No, like that one by far, in a way, is one of my favorite because he made fun of himself in a gimmick and made it work so well. Like it's one of those things. Like to your point, he embraces the silly side. Like when he was the GM for a little bit, him and at that point, Dean Ambrose had the Mountie interaction. That was one of my favorites too. Like there's so many great things from him, but I think one of my favorite things is when he started with the Yes Movement right at the beginning of it. Like he started growing his hair long, and he started getting that long ass beard and just looked like a wild man. And then he started putting like goat, like one of those kick pads, essentially kick pad backs. And it's like I still remember that, just loving how ridiculous it was and how much I was in it. Like I was all about that Yes Movement. And then when we went to No and Hell No by far and away was one of the most underrated tag teams of all time.
One of Jamie's favorite things, the oddball pairing tag team.
Oh, it always works.
Mega powers.
How about the fact that the man put over the word yes?
And no.
And no. like, he's 25 years, DX. Suck it! Right? Too sweet. Woo! All these different things. And what does Daniel Bryan choose? Yes.
Yes.
The standard affirmative answer is what he has. Come on.
And then towards the end of his career, kick his fucking head in, which I was also.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Like this last year and a half, he just no fucks given Bryan Danielson. Like I'm cussing all the time. I don't care. You're not gonna fire me. The network's not gonna ban me.
They'll bleep me. It's fine.
I'm Bryan Danielson. What are they gonna do? I love that.
I'm just so glad a place like AEW exists. So because Bryan Danielson did have a very good WWE run.
Yeah.
Like pretty much everything he did was entertaining. He had some really good matches in WWE as well. If he would have retired at the end of that, hell of a career, we would also look back on it fondly. But the fact that he got another 2 to 3 years of just working the best wrestlers in the world. Like, what a victory lap.
Yeah. And he's not done. Like Jamie said.
Yeah.
He ain't retired.
So that gets me to my next question, gentlemen. When are we going to see Daniel Bryan again in a ring?
January 3rd.
Yep.
That's a layup right there, boy. I mean, his surgery is like a minor little thing he's got to have on his neck, or it's supposed to be minor. I will see. You know, he's going to get that done. He'll be in the ring. I don't know if he'll do like a full-on match, but he'll be in the ring January 3rd in Tokyo, 100%.
I don't know if I want to see him back that soon. And that's disregarding the fact that I would never be sad about seeing Bryan Danielson have a match in a ring. He could come back tonight and I would have been like, hell yeah, Bryan Danielson, let's go. I wouldn't mind seeing him sit out a little bit longer to like Revolution-ish time.
Okay.
Kind of get into March. Because I think we'll get in Dynamite and the story with Mox and the BCC and all that. I think that's got some legs, and that's gonna be going for a while. And I think once that starts to play itself out a bit, you bring Danielson back for another match with Mox. But I feel like that's not for quite some time.
I think that this is something we can definitely approach later on, talk more about in the months to come. But I think, Jamie, especially considering what I don't remember what they're calling it. You know, I want to say WrestleDream, but that's not what it is.
Wrestle Dynasty.
Wrestle Dynasty. That's too close to WrestleDream. Whatever. You know, but Wrestle Dynasty, it feels like one of those like marquee events where it's not going to necessarily be dependent upon solely being AEW continuing their storylines, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost like it's kind of like a Forbidden Door, right? It feels like of that nature where it's like we're going to step out a little bit, you know, and so that we can get these dream matches to give you your eyes on. We'll consume with our regularly scheduled program the next night, right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and I don't think it needs Danielson. Like, it's probably going to sell out. Plenty of people are going to watch it. And you have an out for like people not necessarily expecting him because he literally is done being full time. We don't know when he's coming back. So I wouldn't be sad about it, but I imagine it being a little bit longer before he comes back.
Well, Jamie, I appreciate the layup this week here.
Yeah, it's the least I can give you.
You should have seen it.
I did beat you.
Like, you're welcome. Yeah, yes, I know.
And Texas A&M.
You're going into football right now? Really? You want to do that?
I mean, it's the biggest loss.
I also, if you go back, you remember me talking about beginning of the season about how many, I said A&M is going to be the sleeper team in the SEC.
No sleeper about them.
Not anymore. And their schedule is.
You got snuck.
We got polished by that. Hey, it happens, you know. But that's the beautiful thing. We'll talk more about that later. All right.
That's all right. Let's talk some Dynamite, gentlemen.
Before we do that, I want to learn. I want to learn about stuff. In order to learn, I need knowledge, and I wish there was someone here that could give me some knowledge.
Oh, I might have a little stash of some knowledge, and it's actually going to roll us right into Dynamite. As I've mentioned over the past few weeks on the show, I recently started a rewatch of older WCW. Start with '96. And going through night shows and pay-per-views. I don't think they have the Saturday nights from the time, but either way, like, I only got so many hours in the day. So I've made it through 2 Nitros after Starrcade 96.
Okay.
The NWO is already gotten stale, but clearly has not lost steam with the crowd. Tons of NWO shirts. They're still getting pops, but it's kind of the thing where it's the entire show is either NWO getting involved in shit or Lucha's going out there and having bangers.
Yep.
Pretty much the entire show.
Yeah.
And after watching several Nitros from one of the golden eras of pro wrestling, I guess we're ramping up for the Attitude Era, but like WCW, NWO's happening, they're kind of there. It got me thinking that throughout wrestling and the peak times, it's really just one really good storyline on top and everything else just being watchable. And
Yep.
after watching tonight's Dynamite, I feel like we are approaching that. One big storyline that's kind of encompassing the show and is actually making you want to watch and follow it, and a bunch of watchable shit underneath. And I don't even mean watchable in a bad way. Like, some of it's great, some of it's fine, but it all supports one big storyline. And that's usually a sign that your show's kind of taking a good turn. Something's popping off and getting hot. Yeah, then if you go, most of the Attitude Era on the WWF side was just Stone Cold Steve Austin. What's he doing this week? Let's see some wrestling in between Stone Cold segments. We're gonna tune in and watch this shit.
Yeah.
I got that feeling from tonight's Dynamite, and that's why I wanted to mention it in the stash. Is that time will tell. Maybe it fizzles out, but I got the feeling AEW is starting off something that's going to be a boom period for them, and it's really going to take off.
Well, we're not gonna spoil it for you. We're just gonna tell you to stick with it, because the NWO, and Jamie can back me up on this. The NWO was definitely a wave of stuff. Pop culture wise, man, it was a plateau. It didn't matter, right? You know, as soon as I started selling T-shirts, it was done. It was feed me more of this, right? But the show wise, it was definitely a wave. You had moments where the NWO stuff was really good, and moments where it's just like, just run out and fuck with everything for no reason.
It was making me laugh because, like, a lot of complaints on the internet these days about AEW is just matches and no story, which isn't true. Like, if you listen to us, we talk about it every week. Plenty of stories going on. But even if that were true, literally that's the WCW formula, is just a bunch of random matches. And they will just catch you by surprise with some absolute bangers. I watched a Nitro yesterday, early January of 97. That starts off with Jushin Liger versus Ultimo Dragon. Then you get like a Ray and Psychosis match. Later on in the night, you get Jericho and Benoit. But randomly smushed into the middle of that, you've got Conan and fucking IRS in a strap match. Using, as I've talked about on the show before, the only finish they've ever done in a strap match where the babyface tags the corners behind him and gets the last one right before it. But it's such a weird time in pro wrestling.
I got nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were ever wondering, yes, Conan and IRS had a strap match on Nitro once.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember.
It was not memorable. And they set it up. It was supposed to be Conan and Big Boss Man, who I forget what they're calling him at the time because they can't actually call him Big Boss Man. But then IRS, who's also in the NWO because they had already started just kind of taking on everybody, just comes out. He's like, "Oh, he's not here." Then he blasts Conan, puts a strap on himself, and then they just have the match anyway. Pro wrestling.
I mean,
What was it called? And
I first, honestly, like, that's the part I think that popped me the most. And it's gone on until almost now, right? Just recently, we gone past the bullshit of you can't use the same name in more than one place, right? Thankfully. Because we got some really bad versions of stuff, right? I mean, it was something as little as Six or X-Pac, right? But there was, they would just go on these, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's him." No, it's so and so. Like, that's a stupid name. It's this guy. We know it's this
weird.
guy.
I feel like that only started kind of close around that time because in the early '90s, guys were jumping ship and they were just.
Well, there wasn't really a
their
threat
guy.
of competition before then. Like in the 80s and early 90s, there was never a thought in the world that there'd be anything to compete on television with WWF, right? There was not a thought in the world that any other station would put on anything. There's not enough room on TV for more than one wrestling thing. Who would watch wrestling on TV? We already got it at one place. That's more than enough. That's the way everybody thought. WCW, which you're experiencing now, why that thought had changed, was the outlier, was the ones who broke that mold.
and he was just the boss man, by the way. He just dropped big. Big
I love how
Boss fan.
some of them were
Love
just,
Boss.
that's like the laziest too, right?
Which works out the best because it's so easy. All right, well, gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's talk a little of the AEW. So, it kicks off with Moxley talking in riddles again as your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Which he doesn't give a shit about. Let's be honest.
I didn't think he was talking to riddles. I thought this was like the clearest he's been as far as just kind of laying out what they're doing.
Just the just sheer violence.
They're pushing all the, not necessarily the AEW originals, but they're pushing the younger talent.
Yeah.
Like he kind of explained that it's not your company anymore. I love this promo. I love the way they're setting up, and apparently RJ City is like real hands on with this story. So tip of the cap to him for putting some real interesting shit together. But yeah, you get the closing shot at WrestleDream of Orange Cassidy, Daniel Garcia, and Darby just kind of staring on it. Bryan Danielson getting stretchered out. Like, I think this whole story is them just pushing the younger homegrown AEW talent to come and take the top spot, which is like a good pro wrestling story.
Now, do you like the fact that they're using a pickup truck now where they just hop in the bed, even though that's still somewhat nonsensical because most modern pickup trucks are 4 doors and there's plenty of room inside for 5 or 6 people. But is that suit you better than the random hop in the back of a Jeep Wrangler?
Yeah. Mox not knowing how to close the window and the back door on a Jeep was not a great look.
I don't know why, but that's all I thought of at the end of this. That's all I thought of. I was like, boy, Austin's got to be happy it's not a Jeep anymore. It's a pickup truck.
I was thinking that watching too. I was like, man, they really like causing trouble than getting in the back of vehicles.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, now that we have this Moxley and like he appears multiple times throughout the night, right? And I wanted to hold this, but you've already kind of just did it to me. Is the BCC going to be their NWO moment? Do you really feel like that is, or do you feel like there's going to be another shoe to drop in order to make it that seminal moment of AEW?
I don't know what other shoe you have in the closet there, you know. You've already had, Mox, who's one of the biggest names in wrestling in the world, okay?
Yeah.
Tops of most wrestling lists for the past 4 years, okay? Amass a pretty solid group of violence to come in and wreak havoc on the company, take the title, which, like I said, he doesn't give a shit about that title. Like, having that title, not having that title, doesn't matter to him, right? You didn't even see the belt tonight. It wasn't even there. I really want to know what's in Pac's little briefcase. Put a pin in that.
I just assumed it was the belt.
I want to know. I don't know what other shoe there could be that would drop on this unless there's a big counterpoint, right? Just like NWO had Sting and Goldberg, right? I don't think I'm spoiling anything for your future watching of Nitro here, Austin, right? Yeah, but Sting had.
I loosely know what happened from time to time.
I'm like, that's kind of But NWO had Sting and had Goldberg as their like big counter punches, right? That's the only other shoe I could see dropping. I don't know what else you're insinuating there, Jamie, because I think it is that point, and it is like Austin said, the main kind of encompassment is the group causing anarchy against the entirety of the company, right? It works. Continue it. So, yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's another shoe to drop. I think, obviously, the story's going to expand and, like, it's going places. This feels like their opportunity to do the NWO thing right. As I mentioned, even by December of 96, so we're only about 6 months into it, it had gotten pretty rough. NWO started like a great idea, but it just became NWO beats everybody all the time. And they tried make it seem like people had to choose sides, WCW or NWO, but outside of your Sting, DDP, Goldberg, you really didn't have guys standing up to the NWO. You just had guys getting beat up by the NWO and made to look silly. I think this is their chance to do something similar to that, but actually execute it much better. And I see this going for a while and adding more people to both sides that are actually on one side or the other. Which leads me to one thing I think we could get out of this later on down the line. I think we get Swerve and Hanger tagging. Not as a regular tag team, but this could be the story that obviously you've got to still give it some time, get down the road. This could be the storyline because that's what we haven't seen in the Swerve and Hanger thing yet. This is a storyline reason where they both separately get on the bad side of BCC and we end up getting to see them as a team.
The Unholy Alliance.
And that's good storytelling because it's actually a reason to do it instead of, hey, Jey Uso, we got War Games coming up in like 6 weeks. Can you forgive your family?
So gentlemen, let me add my little lenya on this, my little extra. So NWO, right? What was the main catalyst to make NWO what it is? What was that one thing?
Hogan
turning.
Hogan turning. 100%. 100%. So right now you already have these guys kind of acting roughshod before that. And then you add the biggest baby face in the company and they turn them heel and it sends it to the absolute stratosphere. So I believe, gentlemen, that the biggest baby face is going to turn and be a part of this group. That's not Will Ospreay. No, we are going to put a pin in it. And I'm going to answer this question later.
All right, I have
to be Willow.
I'm like, if it's not Will Ospreay, who the hell could it be? All right, put a big pin in that. I have a secondary pin that I want to ask as a follow up on that. All right.
Okay. All right. So after this, Adam Cole Baby comes out. Yay, he's back. It's story time with Adam Cole Baby, and he loves Roddy. He loves Matt Taven. I'm Matt Taven. And Mike Bennett. And just, he says he's got to do this on his own all of a sudden. So, clearly the Undisputed Kingdom is no more.
Get rid of that shit.
and then MJF is the
Undisputed
worst of all time. And he's got to fight. Sometimes he's got to fight evil with evil. I was like, that's such a terrible cop-out. I am so sorry. I was not happy with this, other than I got to see Adam Cole on my screen. That was about it.
Okay, some of the words I'm with you on, I'll give you that. I think, though, we all agree the injury sidestepped otherwise this storyline from happening, year and a half ago, as it should have. Okay? So they're finishing the storyline they should have done a year and a half ago. I get it, right? I'm fine with it because I think it's a good way to kind of ramp Adam Cole back up into things. Is it a bit of a layup story-wise? Yes. Yes, it is. But there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you got anarchy and chaos going on all over the place, right? Let's make sure Adam Cole gets in there, right? And this keeps both him and MJF occupied in something that doesn't necessarily, come out of complete left field.
Yeah, and we'll get to it throughout the night, but overall they did a good job of kind of separating people that they don't want involved with the Blackpool Combat Club shit going forward. Like they set up other stories where people have reasons not to be getting involved, all that. I hated this Adam Cole promo. I don't mind them doing this story. I just thought this was not a good way to kind of catch us up and explain why we should like Adam Cole and hate MJF. MJF explained to us why we should hate MJF because he's fucking MJF and he's a heel. I would have been Adam Cole, I don't think should have done I'm going to try and justify things and be more of a babyface. he should have just came out and say, like, yeah, I wanted the title off of him. I knew all along. I turned on him because I know who he is. Like, you can toe that line, and you don't have to go full on babyface now, and you can turn more babyface through segments leading up to their inevitable pay-per-view match and all that. It was just a real weird come out, and I'm going to try and gloss over the last year of everything that happened and just reset us. And I don't think you need to do such a hard reset. You could have finessed that a little bit better.
Yeah, well,
I did love MJF's when he cut his promo. That was one of the best MJF promos I've heard in a long time.
That's the MJF we need.
Yeah.
Right there. Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, a face MJF is not what we need right now.
No.
What we need is that. And that MJF is what we need right now.
But
We
even
don't
his
deserve
heel
this
promos
MJF.
had gotten a little lazy, kind of with the Ospreay feud and all that. They weren't bad, but like this was more classic. What I think of an MJF promo.
It was more off the cuff too, where it felt like a lot of his other ones were very scripted, and this one definitely didn't have that scripted vibe because he didn't seem so robotic with it. That's probably the best way to put it for me. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, I think that MJF and Cole is just a good. It's just a good feud to have. In general,
absolutely.
It worked when it kind of came out of nowhere. We're like, oh yeah, and then they formed together. We all knew that it was going to lead to a turn for sure, right? But that was good, right? Sometimes you just get people who just click. You know, MJF found that, or AEW found that with Hanger and Swerve, and it is now their anchor driving them forward. I know that analogy made no sense, but you know what I mean.
In hindsight, it's really weird that I think it was Forbidden Door when MJF came back and then Adam Cole came out and MJF kind of brainbustered him and then we didn't see Adam Cole again for like 6 months.
Yeah.
That was a bit odd.
100%.
Well,
but hey, we're not supposed to remember that. He's
fine. Back
right,
now,
we're
and
moving
he's
forward.
supposedly totally healthy because he ran on Saturday. So
Austin, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
If that's the biggest of my plot hole concerns, like we're doing pretty.
yeah.
Because it was a lot of story tonight in the best way possible.
100%. So speaking of story, we got sucked back into the Jericho vortex.
The vortex, it just turned and he grabs you.
He was cheated out of that title. Briscoe cheated. He demands a rematch.
He was ecstatic with the subtle Terrifier 3 drop. Have you seen Terrifier 3? I'm assuming, Jamie.
I've yet to go see it. I've been a little busy. It's on the agenda.
Oh wow.
for this weekend. I'm gonna try to find time to go see it. But Megan's got stuff going on. She's the only one who really wants to see it with me, and she's got a boyfriend now, so that's kind of a thing. So
Ooh.
he doesn't like scary movies, but I'm willing to look past that. But here's the deal breaker, gentlemen. Hold on, I'm just gonna do this. I don't care if Megan's watching. This is on you. He likes episode 1 of Star Wars.
I like episode 1 of Star Wars.
You're not trying to date his daughter.
Yeah. Like,
Jamie, for those of you who may have been tuning in for your first time or have not been here for a while, you may have missed this, but this is a well-known fact of the man that is Jamie Faulkner. He is definitely more of a lover of the original trilogy, but he's not adverse to other Star Wars opportunities. He will rank every Star Wars movie you give him, and he will always put episode 1 at the very, 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 very bottom.
Oh, absolutely not. Attack of the Clones is the worst movie in the history of movies.
You don't need episode 1 to have episode 2. You need episode 2 to have episode 3. You don't need episode 1. You get pod racing and Darth Maul. That's it. That's literally it.
First of all, pod racing and Darth Maul were both absolutely dope. But second of all, it's where they find Anakin. Like, but that's how they introduce him.
And then they jump ahead a decade out of nowhere. Boom. Yeah. So it kind of didn't matter where they found him.
Yeah.
Really?
I will not sit here and tell you that episode 1 was a good movie.
Okay.
I think it is a bit ravaged by time because it does not hold up as well.
No.
And at the time, the problem with episode 1 at the time is you had everyone that was old enough to watch the OG trilogy like as a kid when they were coming out and stuff too, or shortly after. And then you had like I wasn't born till 87. So I didn't really see Star Wars till a good almost decade after they had really been around and stuff. So I enjoyed them as a kid, but I wasn't so attached to them that anything they did differently that wasn't perfect was going to piss me off. I enjoyed episode 1 at the time. I think it's a fun rewatch because the dual lightsaber is absolutely cool.
Mhm.
Darth Maul is absolutely cool.
He is.
I
Pod
mean,
racing
Duel
is
of
absolutely
Fates
cool.
is Duel of Fates is the
Yeah.
song. I'm not gonna lie.
It did not ruin my childhood, and that's why I don't hate it. But episode 2 is the worst movie ever.
We actually got there's the ongoing argument with Star Wars fans. First of all, I will be back to wrestling in a minute, guys. Nobody hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan. But so
Yes.
this one streamer that I subscribe to, I follow on Twitch, right? You know, part of their community and everything. She recently did a playthrough. It kind of filled time, and somebody gifted her the game, so she did a playthrough of the Skywalker saga. Lego Star Wars. She's never played any of the Lego games. Which, by the way, if you never played any of the Lego games, they're super fun. They're really easy, but they're super fun.
They're great time.
I mean, yeah, platinum them is a pain in the dick. I mean, trust me, I know. I did the first Lego Star Wars back on PS3. That motherfucker 8 years off my life. It's stupid how hard it is to plat a Lego game. Who knew? But so the conversation is going on, and people are, you're wrong. And I go, stop. Because the reality is this. If you grew up with the original trilogy, you're going to have more of a fondness for the original trilogy, right? Jamie and I, born early 80s, you know, 80. We were both born in 80, early 80s, you know, the one with the
I like how you tried to make us sound a little bit younger than we actually
I did. I was like, we're going to say 80. I was like,
1980, bro.
Yeah. We were born 80, so we were born right in the middle of this shit, right? My dad went to the premiere, right, of episode 5, right? So anyway, all this stuff, right? If you were younger, you grew up with that. You have more of an affinity for the prequel trilogy because that's what you remember from your childhood. So that's the only thing I would say, getting back to Megan's new boyfriend as a modicum to you, Jamie. He's like, remember, this kid grew up with that. That was his childhood, was episode 1, 2, and 3.
I just got one thing to say. Jar Binks single-handedly tried to ruin the entire thing. Jar Binks. If you have came out as a Sith Lord like we all thought he should have, then I've been okay with it.
Oh, yeah.
But no.
His dialogue is almost unbearable, but like outside, there's enough to redeem it to make up for that.
I just love how we go from Jericho to episode 1 in like
it feels right. It feels right.
It does. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's like
it's just stuff that keeps getting better the farther back you go. I'm seeing a lot of early 97 Jericho right now, and it is a treat.
Yeah, see, like,
oh, dude,
we remember Jericho. We have a fondness for the Jericho-holics. You know,
have you reached the Man of 1004 list read yet in your watch?
No, I just got, and I saw that live when I was a kid. I have seen that.
I mean, you've seen the clip. Everybody has seen the clip of it too, you know. But oh my
currently
God.
Where I am in January '96, Jericho is still a babyface.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, he's still the Lionheart.
But he's getting more personality, and you can see like the Chris Jericho we will come to know and love coming out.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's pretty fun to watch the progression of Jericho and the progression of DDP. Like you're starting to see DDP become a top guy.
Yeah, has Raven's flock shown up yet?
Raven isn't there yet. Like, it's an interesting time.
Yeah. Oh man, that was my favorite WCW. Is like when we had Raven's
no Raven
flock
yet, but you get Bobby Eaton versus Glacier.
Oh yeah,
That's
I remember when they tried to do
into.
Glacier.
Yeah.
It was a big thing.
So
I do gotta say, just real quick before we get off that, I watched one earlier today that had Regal versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and it was like a fun 10-minute TV title match.
Oh, that's great.
Dude, all right. Jericho, Mark Briscoe. They're gonna do it all over again.
Yeah, in a ladder wars match. I don't know exactly what ladder wars is. I just think it's a ladder match, but who knows?
It's a ladder match
That's what they
with a
call it
better
in Ring of
title.
Honor. That's
Yeah.
the Ring of Honor gimmick. Every ladder match is a ladder war.
And then after this, gentlemen, we had FTR versus Big Bill and Brian Keith. And, you know, it was good. I enjoyed the shit out of this match just because I love FTR and I love Brian Keith and Big Bill. And, like, Big Bill's so fucking over, it hurts.
Oh,
Like,
so-
he needs a singles run. And then the fact afterwards, we got the greatest tag team in all of AEW, the Outrunners, meet tornadoes everywhere.
just coming out, just literally to get pop.
That's how over they are. They came out to shake hands and pose with FTR.
And they showed it
That
on
was their
TV, which is because that's something they do at the event, right? Live during the commercial break, sure, right? But they actually showed that shit on TV, which popped me. I was like, yes. We need to order Outrider shirts, Jamie. I want to get like the 8-bit jet ski one.
Yeah, I think I want the one with the meat tornadoes on it because that's just such a great little gimmick there. Meat tornadoes.
What if the BCC just tears through AEW and then the last stand is the Outrunners taking the company back?
That would be amazing.
Give it to me.
They rally everybody together.
The power
Like
of the
old school
90s.
style. Let's go.
That's gonna be. So there were people after WrestleDream comparing that ending to Avengers Infinity War. The end game is going to be Danielson finally coming back, and all of a sudden you're going to hear on your left, and it's the Outrunners just charging down to the ring to beat the BCC's ass. That's what I want in the future. Love those guys.
So they did show Roosh and the LFI backstage watching this match intently. So we'll probably get a promo from one Jake the Snake Roberts later about that.
Sure.
Cannot wait for that. So then MVP is working hard to recruit, man. I think he needs some NIL money or something because these guys aren't coming that easy. But he started off with the Acclaimed because, you know, hopefully everybody knew that Shelton Benjamin's going to have his first match against one Lio Rush, who have a very, very unique tie and one Bobby Lashley. So I felt like that might have been on purpose.
Perhaps. I was thinking it
Could be.
too.
Oh, good.
No, I was thinking it too. I was also thinking when we saw Lio Rush as the hype man for Bobby Lashley.
Man of the hour.
Oh my God.
I also just think
So
Leo
bad.
was just a real good showcase for Shelton's first AEW match.
Oh yeah. I mean, Acclaimed. I like the fact that without no uncertain terms, MJS is basically running through everybody who's a wrestler who's black on the giving his card out, right? Started with Mercedes, he's going to Private Party, he's going here, but I like that he's sowing these seeds. None of them are probably going to join up with them. But what if one or two does here or there, right? Just making
Oh,
me
I think the Acclaimed are.
I think so too.
I like the Acclaimed more than I like Private Party, and I didn't mind the idea of Private Party, but I think the Acclaimed with him, I really like that.
Just
Yeah,
the two of
I
them
think
without
they-
Daddy Ass too.
Yeah, that's what they dropped Daddy Ass. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Acclaimed are joining. I don't think Private Party are because they're kind of they're doing the stuff with the Elite, but they've got some heat with Blackpool Combat Club too. Like I think they're going to be
Yeah, they're occupied.
part
They're,
of-
yeah.
yeah. They're going to be occupied with other stuff. But they need to put the Acclaimed with MVP. They need to do something different with the Acclaimed. Like everybody's tired of the Acclaimed. I like the Acclaimed, but like they've been doing the same shtick for way too long.
Way too long. And that's why their pop's fizzling and the Outrunners pops popping.
It's either going to be the Acclaimed or it's just going to be Max Caster, which
I don't
interests
mind-
me a little bit more.
I don't mind
I
either
like
of
that
those.
a lot better, actually.
You know, because you can
Thinking
think about the Hurt Business was it was MVP and 3 men, right? So we're all assuming we're going to see Lashley at some point here before too much longer, right? Okay.
Mm.
So either you do the old school Reddick, you got a top guy, a mid card guy, and a tag team, or you do what they did before, where you have 3 men, right? And you can shuffle them around as you need to. Top guy, tag team, top guy, 2 other mid card singles guys, right? Put them all together for a trios. I like either one of those options, to be honest with you there, with the Acclaimed. I think the Acclaimed fit perfectly.
I just hope that they don't just limit it to 3 guys. Like it kind of seems like we're gearing up factions in AEW. Let's have MVP stable be a little bit bigger, kind of like the Don Callis family is, which we'll get to here.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
I got a lot to talk about that.
Yeah. So, but since we're talking about MVP, let's just go ahead and talk about that Shelton Benjamin Leo Rush match. That thing was phenomenal. Ooh. I love Leo Rush and Shelton Benjamin. Like both those two together, that was just gorgeous wrestling.
How about the step up knee from the floor to the apron? Dude.
When he did his classic Shelton spot where he throws a kick, the guy catches it, swings him around, he hits the spinning kick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Leo Rush even like got a hand up, like it was safe, but it looked like he took Leo's head off.
Oh,
how about that super kick he hit on Rush at the end?
Dude.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I thought he just killed him.
Nigel had the best line of the night, you know. It was like, Shelton Benjamin kicked the man in the back of his head. His face was just in the way.
And the when Shelton hard buckled him and Leo went flying like through the ropes, hit the turnbuckle, and fell to the floor. That was devastating looking.
Yeah, it was great, absolutely great.
After
that, though, you know what? You didn't have that bad of the one women's match. Honestly, like again, we talk about Mercedes Moné. One thing about her, girl can wrestle, right? And honestly, Queen Aminata has been an excellent addition to this roster. And this match was great.
Yeah.
And the fact that she won by a submission makes me even happier.
I mean, won by a submission, won pretty clean. You know, you only had a little bit of interference like in the first third of the match.
Yeah.
Got good amount of time, covered a commercial break, but still got good amount of time press. It is our thumbnail for those of you who haven't seen, right? That Bender in half but forwards on the thing that Queen Aminata did, that I very rarely do I say I've never seen that done in a ring before. I've never seen that done in a ring before. That was unbelievable. Okay. Whatever the hell that move was, do more of that and push Queen Aminata. I am all for her, man. She's still got some rough edges you got to polish off a little bit here and there, but not nearly as bad as, you know, some of the others have been over the past few years in AEW's women division. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, they had really good chemistry together. The only thing I didn't like about this match is that they haven't done fuck all to make us care about Queen Aminata over the last few weeks. Like you were not the slightest bit thinking that she was going to win this match. And granted, it didn't matter who was in there. You don't think Mercedes is dropping the title, but you can build people up to where at least you can buy in during the match and kind of get into a little bit.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Like Queen Aminata can go as good as you need her to. She's interesting. Make us give a shit about, like, give us more of her so we can appreciate it better in matches like this.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
All right. Speaking of somebody that we actually are giving a shit about right now, and that's Private Party. First off, that match was great. On the pay-per-view, and
very good.
Those they had a nice little confrontation with the Bucks, and then here comes one Stokely Hathaway. What makes you think you get the right? What makes you think you get the opportunity?
I mean, he's just sitting there just dropping little seeds, little bombs, right?
Yeah.
You know, but John's going to break up. We know Isaiah. You know, we know Cassidy is the better of the two, so he's going to, you know. But whatever, and just walks away. Just drop a little.
That was a fun little interaction.
I want to see them do more with Stokely, even though I think that he's been doing fine. I loved what he was doing with Statlander. is a little bit too comic-y at times, I think. And even though for someone who likes comic-y, I like this, right? He's comic-y, but he's also scheming, right? Scheming Weasley Stokely Hathaway. Yeah.
Like Bobby the Brain Heenan style.
Yeah. Still got comedy.
I love me some Bobby.
I know you love some Bobby, most definitely.
I want Stokely to build himself a stable too. Like, we're just getting factions put together everywhere. Give me like Stokely and the bottom of the barrel guys he actually got to agree to let him manage them. It would be great.
A poor man's Don Callis family.
So
Stokely brings back Brock Anderson. He puts together his new 4 horsemen.
And he's like, Wardlow. Just kidding. He moves on.
His 4 ponies. He'll call them the ponies. All right. So after that, you had the Elite continuing. They had a little backstage segment as well. And this is the first time in a hot minute Kenny Omega's name is brought up on national television multiple times because today is Kenny Omega's birthday. Happy birthday, Kenny.
Happy birthday, Kenny.
But they were talking about how he had to get like 20 feet of his intestine taken out or whatever, but they did give him something special. And it was a black cake that said happy birthday, Kenny. And then they dropped a whole bunch of intestine on it.
Chicken cut to look like intestine.
Yes. Exactly. And then you got Okada delivering the happy birthday, bitch. Which made the entire segment great.
All right, so I had made mention that I wanted to piggyback your big pen with a little pen in regards to the Blackpool Combat Club. My brain just stopped there. Moxley and his group. But I think it's actually a good time for me to pull out my little pen. I want to ask you guys this question because as we made mention when we were talking about them earlier, and are they the NWO comparison? Okay. Every great faction needs that counterpunch, right? Is Kenny Omega the man who would be that eventual demise of the big evil faction, or is there somebody else you think that would be that person?
I don't think Kenny's going to be the main guy. I think he'll get involved in it. Obviously, he's going to come back and he's got business with the Elite and all that, but we'll get to it. They kind of tease some Elite and BCC kind of stuff. I think this is going to go on for a long time, which we might not have Kenny back immediately. I think he will be involved and on the team of AEW because what better guy to be the vet that's there for all the younger guys in AEW that are getting terrorized by all these other vets. I don't think he's going to be the main guy to take down Moxley in the BCC, though.
I agree. I think if there's going to be one person to bring it down, I think it's going to be Swerve. I think that makes a lot of sense with an Adam Cole and Hanger. And Hanger, yes.
That's going to be what brings them together.
Yes. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we're going to come together and call ourselves the Mega Powers.
Speaking of people with enemies, you know who I really want to see come back at some point in this BCC angle on the side of AEW? Eddie by God Kingston.
Oh,
touche. See, part of me, like counterpoint to Jamie's long, pontification about Shane McMahon. I was like, what if it's Eddie Kingston's the one who got under his skin? Because think about the way he's talking about this, right? It's kind of got a little Kingston edge to him, right? On the video promos, right? It's got a little Kingston edge. What if Kingston's the big bad all along, right? Anyway, I think that it's not a coincidence that Kenny Omega's name is being brought up in the fashion that it is, as often as it is today, right? I think that, which hopefully, knock on wood, means that he's done with the surgeries and he's been practicing. We know, we've seen some stuff, right? He's been out there getting around, right? But he had to hit multiple surgeries to get all this stuff taken care of. But hopefully it's behind him. I think that he is definitely that final, water droplet in the glass that makes it overflow for AEW's side. I think combined with a periodic run-in, temporary, of Bryan Danielson naturally, because he's got to be involved in that, in the end angle at some point, and Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
Adam Copeland,
think
Adam
they're gonna be
Cole,
involved.
Kenny Omega. I mean, I'm basically writing your next Blood and Guts match for you here, AEW, by the way.
But even with all those, I think the guy that eventually takes down Mox is going to be one of either Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin, and the other one is joining BCC.
I agree. I'm right there with you. And okay, so since we're pulling pins, allow me to pull my pin. So obviously you had this whole thing with the elite and the conglomeration. They have a match. It was fine, whatever. Conglomeration wins by DQ. Okay. It was a good match.
It was a solid filler. It was good to see. It's always good to see Okada on your television. Let's be honest.
But obviously, Mox and them come in there and they start beating the hell out of the conglomeration, right? So I'm gonna pull my pin on the biggest baby face in AEW. The biggest baby face in AEW, gentlemen, just is recently out of active wrestling. Yes, the biggest shot and shock would be Bryan Danielson coming down to make the save, just like Hulkster, and ends up siding with Moxley, understanding what Moxley did was for the greater good. And then there you go, the big turn. It goes through the stratosphere. Everybody's going to be wearing their BCC shirts. And, like whatever kind of hand signals that they come up with, everybody's going to be doing them. And then there you go. It makes the most sense to me. Like, he's going to come back and side with them because he's going to be gone for a while. And when he comes back, it's going to be the biggest pop of all time. Everybody's going to be all excited, and he turns on AEW.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Oh.
Because he's not full-time anymore. I don't think he's going to come back for, like, multi-week runs. Like, I think he'll come back for the occasional pay-per-view match. But I don't think he's putting in regular Dynamites to move a story along. And I think without having him for longer spurts at a time, you can't have him be that big shocking turn and join the BCC. I think he'll eventually come back to get revenge on Mox. Then we won't see him for a while. We'll get him for a dream match a couple times a year, and I think that's going to be it. Yeah, I think, and especially after, like, Mox just tried to kill him twice. Like,
Wheeler tried to kill him the second time.
That's fair.
We didn't try very hard to kill him. Let's be completely honest. Okay, all right. Mox tried to kill his ass hard.
I don't know why. I just now remembered from the pay-per-view, and we were remiss to not mention it during the rundown. Jim Ross's call of not Jeff Jarrett when the BCC was beating the shit out of him.
Oh yeah, there was that.
Had to mention that on the show.
Not Jeff Jarrett. We gotta make that. I gotta find that clip and make it a ringtone for you. Wow, I just dated myself.
So originally, I was thinking Kenny Omega would be the big face that would turn. But he's already been a heel in the company, so it didn't feel like it would sit. But John Moxley just retired Bryan Danielson, essentially. I feel like that would make the biggest impact. He'd be on a few Dynamites, whatever, setting up, like, whatever, and I'm going to come and go as I please, because of whatever, and John Moxley's got this, and then, like, they'll set up a pay-per-view match with all of them on there. He'll disappear for a little bit because they'll lose. Like, dude, this makes sense.
I totally agree with everything Jamie's saying, except for the point that putting it through the stratosphere. The Blackpool Combat Club exists because that's basically what happened, right? These two men didn't know who was better, so they kept, they kept fighting, and then, William Regal brings them together, and they formed the Blackpool Combat Club, right? That's how this whole thing started, in essence, right? So for Danielson to turn on everybody else and side with Moxley and his cronies after learning, I don't think it's that shocking. I think it's actually somewhat predictable, to be honest with you. All right.
That's why I love it.
I think that I don't think it needs, and my belief is I don't think it needs to have another big name on the bad side. Right? You can add some more lackeys, you can do whatever. I like the idea of like Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin, specifically Orange Cassidy, joining in with them. Okay. I think that's, doesn't have the same effect. No, I think I'm of the belief that the biggest shoe to drop in this whole thing to kind of put through the roof is what you have as that antithesis on the other side, right? Kenny Omega, Adam Copeland, right? Who is that person that's going to be the shining light against evil, right? Almost standing by themselves, but not really, right? They don't have Karl Malone in their corner, but they're going to have somebody in their corner to stand up against.
Preferably not anybody like Karl Malone.
Karl Malone. That's my belief. That's my thought on it. Daniel Garcia is what Rob says.
And I think to Rob's point, I think Daniel Garcia is going to be heavily involved in this and come out of it looking like a big time babyface. But to me, the writing on the wall is this is made to make either OC or Darby as a top guy.
Darby. It's going to be Darby. It's got to be Darby.
I mean, Darby was involved in this story from day one, really.
Maybe he can have better matches.
And you had you had Jerry at WrestleDream, Jerry Lynn talking to Orange Cassidy, telling him like, "Hey, you could be the guy." Like, that seems like the story they're telling is like this is gonna build around OC and Darby against Blackpool Combat Club, and one of them's gonna be the guy, the other guy's turning heel. Which that's good storytelling. That's interesting TV.
Can't beat him, join him.
Well, I think the moral of the story is that even if this is like the dominating story, much to your assertion about late 90s WCW, it's pretty good because we gave you, I think, about at least a half a dozen or more plausible main directions to take this that are all good.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing AEW's been missing for a while is the story that gets you tuning in every week for the story itself. And Mariah and Tony was great, but if you missed one segment, like it wasn't must watch every week. It was every time their segment came up on the show, you're like, hell yeah, I'm here for this. But this seems more like, oh, I gotta tune in. I gotta keep up with this shit.
Yeah, good point. Because I mean, shit got crazy in the back too. Like, so there's gonna be a triple threat match because of the Blackpool Combat Club or whatever they're calling themselves right now. I don't even know if they're still calling themselves the BCC at this point. They're just beating the hell out of everybody in the back, and you're gonna have Top Flight going up against the Blackpool Combat Club next Wednesday.
In the opening, in the opening video promo that Moxley did, okay, he did use the words, "This is a new paradigm. This is a new paradigm." I'm not saying that's what they're going to call this group instead of the BCC.
So it's not a paradigm shift?
The new paradigm? I like new paradigm, honestly. I actually really like that.
Kind of a nose for him.
I want to say
wrestling,
story
Jamie.
dropped on Twitter. I want to say a story dropped on Twitter within the last week that Mox had trademarked Switchblade Conspiracy.
But they have King Switch, the Switchblade.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I saw that he had trademarked that. I don't know if it's related, but
well, Switchblades are him and oh my god, from TNA, Wrestling Revolver. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Sam Callahan.
Sam Callahan. Yeah, him and Sally Callahan. Their tag team was which makes me think. Okay, Sammy may be involved as okay, whatever. There's lots of layers to this ways it could go. I'm just throwing that out there that he did drop that, and it was one of those very poignant moments where he very much emphasized it, talking about a new paradigm, right? I personally like that. That's a good one. You can make a good logo for that. I'm thinking that's a good name.
I mean, yes. All right, so let's just kind of catch up to where we are. Swerve and Prince Nana said they accept MVP's offer to face off against Shelton Benjamin. And then he won't fail, whatever. That's cool. But then we get to the main thing I want to talk about. The Don Callis press conference, gentlemen.
Good God.
Iron Sheik Heat is back in full effect. Don Callis could barely be heard. But he has yet another new member of the Don Callis family, which makes me think, what are they doing with Hobbs? Because they just got the other guy who Hobbs was in a faction with back with Taz and Brian Cage. And I think this is a great move for Brian Cage, by the way. I think this just makes so much sense. And we got a pretty solid promo out of Takeshita too, gentlemen. Like, I love this.
I was going to
Yeah, I love Takeshita's promo. Takeshita looks like a star, which is great. I like Don Callis's island of misfit toys outside of Takeshita. Like, you've got Great Value Osprey and the two monsters you really couldn't get over with anybody else. That's a good thing. It immediately makes Lance Archer and Brian Cage more interesting, which I'm here for.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy both of them in the ring. Just they have not found any way to make either guy interesting. So hopefully this does. If Don Callis can't do it, nobody can. I was expecting Hobbs to show up tonight and immediately going against the Cal. I think it's going to be he comes back as, hey, you forgot about me while I was on the shelf.
I think he was traded.
I think he's. Oh, was Hobbs traded?
I think he is property of Jake the Snake Roberts because Lance Archer was a trade. They keep using the T word for Lance Archer. He traded. Who did he trade? Who else does he have in his stable he could trade? Is it Rush? Was Rush really affiliated with him?
I think loosely.
I think he kind of went along with it, but I think Hobbs is part of that. Personally, that's my.
I don't know what you do with Hobbs and the Luchas under Jake Roberts though. Like, I think.
Well, what do you do with Hobbs along with Brian Cage and?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Archer.
I think Hobbs is coming back on the other side. Like, I think he'll show up to back up Osprey sometime the next few weeks.
Oh, he might just be okay.
I would love that.
Hobbs face run, sure.
Because he is the Monstar on the Twitters.
Ooh, Rob's got it. Rob's got it in chat, boys.
Oh.
Stokely
That's
Hathaway.
my answer to everything is just put him with Stokely Hathaway.
Hobbs and Stokes.
What about Hobbs on? What about? I know this is nail on the head, yes, but what about Hobbs with MVP?
No, only because it's too obvious. Like,
Too obvious. Plus, it's like if you got Lashley, you don't need Hobbs as well.
Yeah, and he's coming. Like, it's been confirmed that he's coming.
we're gonna get Lashley soon. We know this, right? I personally liked the Kyle Fletcher part of this the most. Not gonna lie, and I love Takeshita. It was good. It was literally the exact same thing they did on the post, pay-per-view media scrum. Okay. I love the fact that he said a million things by not saying more than 4 words.
Yeah.
And immediately, shaking hands, and he's getting hugs from him like he's a child of Don Callis, right? Just without telling you what they're doing, they're setting up that blood feud between him and Ospreay. It's going to be so good. I don't
know. I didn't realize till he was standing in the ring with Lance Archer. I always forget how big Kyle Fletcher is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always been a tall son of a bitch, but in the past 2 or 3 years, he's really got the bulk on. And
yeah, I like where they're going with the Callis family. Like, they've got a lot of good shit popping over on AEW.
They absolutely do. And then, obviously, because of this, you had to figure out what you are doing with Ricochet. And Ricochet straight called out Takeshita saying, "Hey, you didn't have to beat me. You had to beat him, and you pinned him. I still haven't been pinned. I'm out of this world." Whatever. Of course, he does a catchphrase. It's actually a pretty solid promo for Ricochet because Ricochet is not well known for being a talker, and I thought it was actually pretty decent, gentlemen. And it looks like we're gonna have a Takeshita Ricochet thing while we have Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay going at it.
Keep everybody in their lanes. I'm good with this.
Yeah. Well done, man. Well done. Okay. The second best promo of the night, in my opinion. Mariah May. Don Callis was 1. Mariah May 2. MJF 3. In that order.
Okay. I'll give you that.
I don't know. I would put Mox 1 just because of the story importance.
Oh,
I thought it was
good.
really, like, it was a great promo. It was really well delivered. I just thought it was more important to the show. But I mean, there's not a wrong answer among the bunch. Mariah May's promo was great. MJF's promo was great. Like, a lot of good storytelling and promos tonight.
I like the fact that Mariah May kind of hit a lot of the nails on the head that we all talk about, right? But she went right to it. Britt Baker's got strep throat. Thunder Rosa's over in England or wherever the fuck she is, right? She's
in England.
Okay, over in England. I forgot. She gets right to it there, and then it's like, and she kind of casually hints about Toni Storm, being on top of the PWI Women's 500, and hasn't. I like the fact that she was very poignant in like saying a lot more than what she actually said, right? She encompassed at least 5 different potential storylines there in a matter of like 6 seconds, which is a lost art with some of these wrestlers. I feel like they gotta like draw out and point the finger and do all this bullshit, right? I thought everything she did was great. I'm with you. She is superstardom. I didn't think she was going to. I'm not gonna lie. When she first got signed, I was excited to see her. She did good stuff in Japan. She was pretty face. I didn't think she was going to be this good. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I like when she first showed up, I thought she was a great depth piece for the roster. Like,
well put.
Yeah, just really good person to have on your show, going to be involved in plenty of important things, but like not necessarily a top person in the division, but she absolutely is. Like I said, I love this promo. Little weird when Anna Jay showed up, though.
So yeah, well, they had to feed her somebody, so it was Anna Jay. Then she ends up slapping CD, and of course Nigel McGuinness loses his shit about it. It is one of the best things ever. Nigel McGuinness.
Just like did the loud slow clap by himself. It was fantastic. I love it.
I know they've got to feed her somebody, but like, what's Deanna doing? Can we give her? She asked for competition, not.
I'm good with this because I think this is perfect. I think that Anna Jay, we've already given several compliments to her earlier on in the night, talking about how she's improved since her her Japan run, right? Really improved. Good. Give her some legs, get her out there, get her some TV time. She's not going to have a long program with her. Deanna's somebody I think you want to, if you're going to set up something, and she's currently running this heel thing, so she doesn't match up well against. Wait a minute. All their champions are heels.
Yes, they are.
Every last one of them.
Every single one is heel. All right, I had to stop there for a second.
It made Jamie very happy.
Is Deanna still a heel? I thought she had like a babyface vignette or something a while.
No,
back.
they moved. Is she okay? Because they were just moving her back to heel post Thunder Rosa.
I haven't seen Collision in a long time, so I've not caught some Deanna for.
Yeah, post Thunder Rosa, they were moving her more into that. This is kind of going back to what she was in Impact TNA, right?
The true virtuosa.
Yeah, the virtuosa, right? So if you're gonna do that, that doesn't line up with Mariah because they're not gonna be so nuanced to go heel on heel and straight up. But I personally think that regardless what you do, I think you kind of dropped the ball on it the first time you ran it through. So if you're going to do a Deanna push, you do it right, no matter what it is. She just needs a warm body in front of her right now, and I think AJ is great for that, right? Because we get to see how much
she's good
improved.
fodder. Yeah,
Right.
I consider her fodder because Mina's coming here shortly, and Tony's coming back. And when Tony comes back, the pop is going to be unbelievable, and then that rematch is going to be insane. And you're going to keep Mariah May over because that's what you need to do right now because she's proven herself. And then you have her drop it to somebody else.
Well,
Okay,
and the last thing, I'm sorry,
go
and then
ahead.
you still got Jamie Hayter, which last week with the 4-way, they're starting to plant the seeds that they're going to have Jamie Hayter in this picture eventually, sometime soon here, right?
That's what I was about to say. Like none of the names you
Totally
mentioned,
fine.
Jamie, were Jamie Hayter, and like it's weird that she hasn't really done much since returning. Like she showed up from time to time. She had a little thing with Saraya, but like it seems weird that they're not really doing much with Jamie Hayter.
Well, I
She's
think
righting
that,
the wrong of the person who hurt her. That was the whole story Excalibur is trying to say every time she has a match.
and I think that while it's disappointing for us visually because we want to see Jamie Hayter on our television, we all know how much time they're going to dedicate to women's stories. As much as it pains me to make those words, and unfortunately in 2024, it's a reality, they're not going to divulge a ton of time like they will for the Don Callis family or the Moxley stuff or even, the Elite, whatever, right? They're just not going to give that much time, right? And your focus has currently been on building up this Mariah May character, and you're doing a good job at that, okay? I think that the focus will shift to Hayter sometime in the near future, but it's for the allotted time they're gonna give us. It's too much at once. Now, is that doing a disservice to Hayter? I think so.
So on that note, here's an interesting question. How much do the women get involved with the BCC storyline? Because they literally have a woman in the group.
I mean, there's a woman there.
I could see Hayter getting involved with that.
I would like for them to do that. I don't know if they will. I think the women are going to be kept separate of that story, unfortunately. With one big exception, because you got to have a woman to combat the woman that's on the BCC. You guys don't know where I'm going with this?
Is it Marina's old tag partner?
No.
Nyla Rose?
No. Because you got a returning Adam Copeland coming up here in a little bit. He's not coming back by himself, damn it. Beth Phoenix. Give it to me.
Rousey.
Shut up.
Please no.
God, I hope not. All right, gentlemen. It is time for our main event. The Switchblade versus the Patriarch, our father, Christian Cage. What'd you think? I didn't like the ending.
I enjoyed the match. This seemed less important than a lot of other things on the show.
Yes. Especially if this is the second person who wronged him, like they spelled out, right? In Excalibur explained it. Kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like, yeah, there it is. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing the match.
Yeah. The what will inevitably be a meme of Hanger just like planking on the floor after the match and staring at Christian.
Which, like, there's already a thing because Christian did it to him a while back, but he was laughing. So, like, they just reversed it.
I like this. I just wish this was earlier in the show. I wish the trios match would have mained and we would have ended with Blackpool Combat Club stuff. Because like it seems like such an important storyline. I would like to see that at the end of the show.
I feel like Tony always has to have a match at the end, and I feel like this would have been the perfect time not to.
But I mean, you could finish with the trios match, do the beatdown of everyone afterwards, and then leave it at that.
Well,
Show your promos later in the week. Like, it's
and,
fine.
And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if this is his consideration for it, but that is very much, as you're witnessing right now, going through early '97 WCW Nitro. That's pretty much how every episode ended, right? It ended with a match that was interrupted, or there was some bullshit after the match with the NWO, whatever. So maybe he doesn't want to follow the exact same footprint that had been set up to avoid that comparison. I don't know. But yeah, it did feel out of place on the card, I'm not going to lie. Although I loved the fact that Juice and Colton dragged out Nick Wayne by his feet.
Yeah,
that's the meme right there, boys.
Just put it earlier in the show.
I popped so hard when Jay and Christian were in the corner and Jay hopped off and then Christian hit him and then here comes Jay with a big clothesline and just drops him right there. And then here's Juice is right there just waving at him hi. Hi. I'm like, oh my God, Juice. National treasure.
Juice is so good. Well,
good Dynamite.
Great Dynamite. The seeds have been planted, gentlemen.
Yeah.
It could be a beautiful tree, or it could just turn to one of those bushes that smells like shit. But we're hoping it's some beautiful, beautiful trees and forests growing stuff.
This episode just felt like some big shit starting to pop off, and we watch every week no matter what, but this seems like the kind of stuff that hooks people that aren't currently watching and tuning in every week.
I hope so. I think it's got good legs, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong. Everything in entertainment is cyclical, as we know, right? And wrestling especially follows that breath, and it's not wrong to copy what was done in the NWO if you can do it in a way that works, right?
100%. And speaking of they're doing stuff, starting to pop off. That goes for you too. That's what we're doing on this show, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe on the YouTubes or on your local podcast on Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening to. But you gotta listen for more because we come up with some of the best stuff, and I have some of the worst takes of all time.
Yes. Not only does he have some of the worst takes of all time, turns out he has one of the worst fantasy football teams of all time. So let's move directly into fantasy football. Because, hey, something amazing happened this past weekend, ladies and gentlemen. The entire dais here were victors. You see the records there. No longer, still in the cellar, but no longer winless. And with the same team name 2 weeks in a row, Jamie Faulkner. Jamie, congratulations on getting your first victory of the year. Let's take a look at it here.
I mean, you still have the worst record in the league. Let's be.
I do, but I'm fourth in points scored. That's all that matters.
He's looking for that point scored. And we're looking at this here, and it was definitely something that came down to the wire. Because I was like, oh, crap. He's not going to have, somebody who was out. It didn't matter. No, you had Garrett Wilson who popped off for almost 30 points on Sunday night. Ended up winning in a landslide. Okay.
And I picked up Ray Davis at the last second just to ensure victory.
I do see that. Yes, indeed. So, but my real question of the week comes from, how are things over in the Reddick household? Okay. This was actually a very sporting match back and forth here.
This was. So we went into Monday Night Football with her up 11 points and having the Jets defense and me having Josh Allen.
So basically, if the Jets played lights out defense, how are you going to get it? If Josh Allen,
they did not.
Yeah. It's the Jets.
Josh Allen returned to form. The Jets were the Jets. I pulled out the dub. Unfortunately, I could not gloat during the game because, as we were discussing on the show before we went live, our new little puppy we got last week was having some medical issues. So I was at the at the doggy hospital Monday night. Sounds like he's gonna be just fine. Should come home tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I was watching Monday Night Football on my phone while I was just sitting in a waiting room with my sick little puppy.
Oh.
And probably looked a little too excited every time Josh Allen scored a touchdown. So I was like, man, I'm like, oh, sorry, little man. Like, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. There we go, another touchdown. Like that was my Monday night.
Well, next week, gentlemen, it's the Hatfield versus the McCoys.
Well, hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself here. Hold on.
Oh,
Jay.
come on. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, we're good. Yeah.
Faulkner's versus Reddick Hauser.
Before you get to that, though, I want to just talk. Rob, are you still in chat there? You're doing all right, buddy. Your team, you have some whiffs here, man. You know, so hey, everybody makes the playoffs. That's all I want to say. I don't have chat pulled up, so I can't see. So you guys let me know if Rob says anything. But I mean,
yeah, he did not. He just said, "Hooray for my team!" Because my team finally is off the slide. We're gonna start eating dubs. Eating dubs.
This was actually the closest match of the week between Tommy Too Good and Megan. It literally came down to, I think it was like Sunday afternoon. I don't think anybody had any, I think they were both done Sunday afternoon. Maybe they had Sunday evening. I don't remember. But it was literally down to like, it's like if T. Higgins, no, it was Sunday night, right? If T. Higgins would have got one more pass caught, Tommy would have had it. It was like that close. It was like neck and neck. So that's actually the best game of the week. I pulled away from Chase with the largest point total of the week. Give it up for Najee Harris going big. Breece Hall coming through finally. Jesus Christ. And Jalen Hurts returning back to form. So yay. Even though I left a few points on the bench there, I could have put Alan Lazard in. I'm happy with that result. So, to Jamie's point, coming up this week here, we do have Jamie versus Heidi, the trash talk game of the year. Let's go.
Yes. Where is Miss Heidi? She in town or?
Yeah, she's in bed.
I would talk shit to her right now.
It's great to know how much she supports us. So fantastic. Well, we'll keep you guys abreast of this here. Like I said, it's been good fun. I've really enjoyed. Well,
hey, Austin's got a tall task too. He's got to take on your daddy and see if he can make her have an L in the current spot. She's got a 0 in.
Oh, I'm winning out the rest of the year.
I'm winning out the rest of the year.
You
You'll
both
still be 1 game behind me.
Like both of us are starting to catch fire with our scoring. Like both of us.
I've got 40 more points than the second highest scorer in the league. I'm
only 10 points behind them.
Yeah, I got shafted the first 4 weeks by everyone having like their best week of the season against me.
Same.
Hey, nothing wrong with a little good defense. Look at me up here near the top, okay? I don't have the highest numbers in score. I'm pretty high up there. I'm above them a lot. But right here, look at that points against, right? Yeah, get that good defense going. Defense wins championships, boys. All right.
Because, that's real in fantasy football.
Shut up. It works for me, and it works for my rhetoric and this particular point. So I'm going to go with it. All right, guys. That's all we have for this week. So, again, if you're going to be in town, Kansas City, this Friday, come join us. 6 p.m. our doors, 7 is first bell, over at the Bell Event Center over in Olathe, Kansas, on the campus of Olathe Medical Center, 155th and 35. We are going to be going live from there for the pre-show. If you are following along with us, hit the little bell icon so you'll know when exactly that is. But we want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. None of this is possible without your guys' support. We do appreciate all of it. So thank you. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down till Spotfest, I got one word for you. Yes.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.